Welcome to Take Time, a cooperative hidden information game from Libellud. When you first open up the box for this game, the bulk of what you're going to see in there is going to be 10 of these chapter envelopes, of which we're going to start with just the first, marked Chapter 1 here in the center. The rest we're going to set off to the side for now. Each of those envelopes contains 4 clocks, and each clock is a puzzle you're going to attempt to complete together. These are also marked with the Roman numerals 1 through 4, so we're going to begin Chapter 1 with the first of these 4 clocks by flipping it face up. We've also got a deck of 24 cards that are either going to be solar cards in white or lunar cards in navy blue. Each of those colors has cards numbered 1 through 12, so basically the deck is 1 through 12 twice, and we're going to shuffle it up, then deal out a total of 12 cards among the players at the table. So in our 3-player games today, we're always going to have 4 cards each. Now, a very important thing to know about your hands is that you should leave them face down once they're dealt to you, because you cannot look at the cards in your hand until the second phase of the game. The first phase, which is called discussion, is going to mean looking out at our clock puzzle for the round and discussing all the different strategies we'd like to employ if our hands cooperate with us. There are also going to be special rules on your clock, so now's the time to make sure everybody understands how those rules work and how we want to play around them. So let's take a look at that clock, because there are some cool pieces to it that are integrated with the rules of the game but look like they're just parts of a clock. First, each clock is divided into segments. This one's got 6 segments here, each of them having their own little arrow. Those are going to be the areas where we play cards out during the course of this clock's puzzle. We've also got a clock hand here that's pointing at one specific segment. That means this is going to be segment number 1 for this puzzle. And then 2 special rules showing in these 2 segments. This one shows a single solar card, which means in order for us to succeed at the end of this clock, there has to be a single solar card in this segment and no other cards, not even another solar card. And this one shows 3 cards of any color, which means we need exactly 3 cards in this segment. The second part of the game is where we play our cards. When we're all ready to stop communicating and start playing, we're going to take our hands of cards and we're going to look at what we've got in them. As soon as you've seen any of the cards in your hand, you are no longer allowed to talk, communicate, raise your eyebrows in a suspicious way, or do anything to indicate what's in your hand to your other players. And that does include discussing strategy any further, because once you've seen the cards in your hand, that's going to influence what you think a good play for this clock is. Once everybody's got their cards in hand, anybody can get us started by playing the first card of the round. So I might actually rush to be the first player since I've got a very low solar card. To play it, I'd play it face down into any segment I wanted to, and in this case I'd be able to play it into this segment that demands that there be only a single solar card and no other cards in this segment. And because it's segment number 1 for this clock, it also needs to be the lowest value segment overall at the end of the puzzle. So a 1 there is a great first play, and my fellow players can pretty much assume I played a really low number here. Once a player has gotten started by playing a card, we then move into clockwise order play. So the player on my left would take the next turn by placing a card face down somewhere out onto the clock, and so on and so forth around the table. But occasionally you're going to make a play that you kind of want to make sure your fellow players know about so that they can play around it. We have a little indicator token here for our 3-player game. There's one of these for each different player count. This one has 3 of these eye symbols on the front, meaning we get 3 total face-up card plays during our game. So I could use one of our 3 face-ups, since none have been used yet, and show everybody that I'm playing a 3 into this 3rd segment here. The round ends once everybody's played all of their cards onto the clock. When that happens, we're going to check all of the requirements for completing a puzzle to see if we successfully pulled this off. The first of those requirements is that every segment on the puzzle have at least 1 card played on it. That's true in this case, so we can move on to the next. Next up, we're going to look at where our clock hand is pointing. That's our first segment for this puzzle, which means it needs to have the lowest sum of all the cards in front of it. We've got a 1, you can't go lower than a 1. But then we need to go around the circle getting higher as we go. So we're going to look at every segment in clockwise order and make sure that its value is equal or higher to the segment that came before it. We've got a 1 and a 3 for a value of 4, a 3 and a 4 for a value of 7, a 5 and a 6 for a value of 11, an 8 and a 10 for a value of 18, and a 12, 11, and an 11 for a value of 34. So we've managed to pull off our ascending segments. Next up is that no segment's value is allowed to exceed 24. So if the cards add up to more than 24, you lose. But not to worry, in this case, I know we had one that went way higher than 24. Our first clock here has a little infinity symbol in the center, which means that that rule is off the table for this clock. We can go as high as we want in any specific segment, but anytime that symbol isn't present, 24 is your cap. And last, we need to satisfy our segment rules for this clock, which we already talked about. We have exactly 1 solar card and exactly 3 cards total. We pulled those off. That means this clock was a success. Succeeding at a clock means you get to return it to its sleeve, shuffle up all the cards, and then move on to the next clock in the chapter. But if you fail, don't worry about it, you are going to fail. When that happens, we're going to shuffle up and try again, but we're going to add one of these bonus tokens, meaning we can show one additional card in the next attempt. But if you've got a really difficult clock that's stumping you, you're allowed to temporarily set it aside in the sleeve of regrets. This is where you're going to put those clocks that didn't go well even despite your best efforts. And every time you sit down to this game anew and maybe start a new chapter, you'll make a stack of those clocks that you're going to play this time, and then you're going to take any clocks in the sleeve of regrets and put them on top of that stack so you can give them another try before you get into the new chapter. There are all sorts of new clocks and segment rules you're going to stumble across as you make your way through the 40 clocks in this game. Today we're going to play through the first chapter, which is clocks 1 through 4.